Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be right now. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Just trying to bring up my feed here on my other screen to make sure it's working, and it is working. Perfect, 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 perfect. So it's what day is it? It's Thursday. My first few days back from holiday. Well, actually, it's nearly a week back from holiday. Have just been full on. So, gosh, there's so much going on just now. I'm facilitating a coaching week just now for the lovely Susie Beaumont. And she has a group called Changing Your World Every Day, or she has a program, not a group, a program called Changing Your World Every Day. And I am facilitating some coaching in her group this week. So, there's a session every morning. So we start at 8 o'clock every morning, and we kind of go through the topic and get curious about the topic of balance. So finding your balance. And it's interesting because I'm running that this week, and I've also just done the final coaching and accountability call for my other main Find Your Balance program that I've been running over the past month, and just had a 2-hour session on that with my participants, which was great. So it was really good to check in, see the progress that they are making and what's coming up for them and what's working, what their wins are, where they're getting to, where they were 4 weeks ago and where they are now. So had a really good session with them, which was great. And here I am. And so it's Thursday already, and the whole week just feels like it's been an absolute whirlwind. And it's hard to believe it's Thursday already, but there you go, it is Thursday already. The week is rapidly progressing, and before we know it, it's going to be the weekend again. Anyway, I don't know if anybody will join me live today. I see somebody is watching, so if you're on here watching me live, then it would be great if you could just drop me a little comment. Just say hello, say hi, give me a little wave so I know who you are and where you are. Can't see who that is over here. Can I see that? No, I don't think so. Anyway, it's fine. So today, my topic for the Ignite show is all about active listening, right? Active listening and the power of active listening, and the fact that we often underestimate how important listening is. So listening in any situation, with anybody that we're chatting to, speaking to, anything that we're engaging in, that listening can actually have a massive, massive, massive impact on people. And so my first question is, I see there's a couple of people on now, so do let me know if you're watching. My first question for you just now is, when was the last time that you felt really listened to? Janice is on. Hi, Janice. Janice is on. Hello, 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 hello. How are you? Just talking about Susie's program, and that we're doing Find Your Balance in there just now. And Janice is in that program as well. So nice to see you here. So yeah, so here's my question. When was the last time that you felt really listened to? Really listened to? When was that? What was it about, and how did it make you feel? You maybe don't want to share the nature of the conversation, and if you don't want to do that, that's fine. However, what I'd love to know is, when were you really listened to, and how did that make you feel? So how did it make you feel to be really listened to? Have you ever been really listened to, right? Have you ever experienced that, being really, really heard, being really heard? That's what I'd love to know about, because the thing is, often, in fact, not even often, but usually when we're listening, right? Usually when we're listening, we are listening so that we can respond, okay? We are listening to what's going on and getting readying ourselves to to jump in, right? To jump in and speak, right? So in our quest to be visible, to be heard ourselves, to show up, to engage, we are ready to engage, right? And we're listening for that moment. We're listening for that opportunity where we can jump in and say what we think. Janice is saying, I'm very well, thank you. Had a lovely day and just back at our hotel for a wee rest. Lovely, going out for drinks later. Ooh, very nice, very nice. My husband is making a curry tonight and I think there might be wine on the go, even though I'm not supposed to be doing that just now, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's been a lovely day and it's been a long day and it's been a long first week back and it's not finished yet. And I am already feeling quite tired. I woke up at 4:45 this morning, or it might have even been earlier than that, 4:45 or something. Anyway, let me know. So when was the last time that you felt really heard and how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel? Because we do have a tendency, it's in our nature to be listening and waiting for somebody to almost pause a little bit so that we can jump in, or even that we just jump in anyway and talk all over them, right? So we do have a tendency to do that. And if you're in my family, it's more than a tendency. It's almost just expected. Actually, it's almost expected that's how it's going to be, right? Quick fire, talking all over each other. Nobody's really listening to anybody, and it's he who speaks the loudest gets heard, right? Now, because I'm a coach, right, I have been trained, right? I have been trained to listen. I've been trained to listen. Now that might sound a bit strange, right? Because we can all listen. Like, what do you mean being trained to listen? Why do we need to be trained to listen? So there's a big thing in here about self-management. So when you're coaching, your attention is with the other person, right? It's with the person that you're having a conversation with, or that you're speaking to, or that you're in dialogue with. That's where your attention is. In general conversation, there's a lot of to and fro, and like I'm saying, you're listening for that trigger, that opportunity to jump in. When we're coaching, we are trained to self-manage, right? Trained to self-manage, to control our thinking, to self-manage ourselves so that we can place all of our attention on our coachee, the person that we are coaching. And so what that means is when somebody is in a coaching relationship, when they're being coached, one of the things that often comes up, that they will often say is, I feel heard. You've got me. And often what I'm doing is I'm actually just playing back and mirroring what the person has said, and helping them to notice what they've said, because sometimes they don't always realize what they've said themselves. And so sometimes it's about mirroring and playing back and holding up that mirror for the person to see themselves properly. But the impact of that is that they really feel heard, they really feel listened to. And the reason why that has such an impact is because it doesn't happen very often, right? It doesn't happen very often. We don't often have that sense of someone just gave me their undivided attention and listened to me. And, I really want you to notice that and think about that and think about the impact it has on you, right? Because if you can acquire that skill, and if you can really turn your attention to the other person when you're in conversation, you're going to have such an impact on them, and your influence, your ability to influence, is going to increase dramatically. It's going to increase dramatically. So it's a really, really good skill to be able to learn and master, right? So what I thought I'd do today is just give you a few little nuggets around listening. So how to listen, because it seems really obvious because we all know how to listen, but we don't always listen actively, right? So we don't always listen actively. And there are 3 stages of listening that I'm going to share with you right now. So I'm going to give you some insight into the 3 stages of listening so that you can use that yourself. So the next time you're in a conversation with someone, you can try using these stages of listening and see what happens. Let's see what impact you have on the other person. Janice is saying this is so true. Listening to others is a skill that most of us have lost. Exactly. Most of us have lost. Let me just take a little drink. I feel my throat is getting parched again. Been talking too much, I think. Talking too much and not listening. There's the thing. Okay, so 3 levels of listening, right? So 3 levels. Level 1. Level 1 is all about listening to respond. Listening to respond. So that's the situation. So we've all been there, right? So we are just about to share something with somebody and we launch into it and we start talking about it. And let's just say, so Janice, you're on holiday in the Lake District right now, okay? So imagine the scenario, you have come home from your holiday in the Lake District and you are sharing what happened with your best friend or family member, someone that you're just, sharing and talking about what happened in the Lake District. And within seconds, you've hardly got the words Lake District out of your mouth, and within seconds, whoever you're speaking to jumps straight in and starts relaying their version of when I went to the Lake District, or I have been to the Lake District, or I am going to the Lake District, and before you know it, the conversation's turned to them, and they've completely lost the conversation. The person's not even interested in what you're saying about it. They've just gone on to wax lyrical about what their thoughts are on the Lake District, what their experience in the Lake District, and you just feel like they've just talked all over you and you just haven't been heard at all. Okay, that is level 1 listening to respond. So when you're listening out for what. So you're listening, but what's actually happening in your mind is, so while you're listening, you are thinking, oh, the Lake District. What does the Lake District mean to me? Oh, I've been to the Lake District. I remember when I was at the Lake District. I remember we went to Lake Windermere. We went out on a boat and the weather was terrible and it started raining and it got really cold. And so then when we got off the boat, we had to go somewhere to keep warm, and we got, so we got hot chocolate and then we had a hot bath and then we got warmed up and we put warmer clothes and on and on and on and on and on and on. But this is what happens inside our minds, right? We hear things and it triggers our own mind. And so then we're not focusing on the other person. Our attention is right in here with us. So even though it's a two-way dialogue and it's a two-way conversation, our attention is firmly on ourselves, right? It's not on anybody else. It's purely on us. That is level 1 listening, okay? Level 2 listening, you can have a think about, what level of listening you think works best, but that's level 1 listening. Level 2 listening is listening to understand. Level 2 listening is listening to understand. So what does that mean? What is different and how does it show up differently? So what is different here is when you're listening to understand, your attention is definitely on the other person, right? You're listening to the other person, you're being curious. And that's the thing, it's about curiosity. So to be curious, we have to listen, right? And we have to listen actively. We have to listen hard, right? We have to listen hard to what the person is saying. And we engage our curiosity. We engage our curiosity by asking questions. So rather than, I'm just back from the Lake District, boom, 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 when was I last at the Lake District? What does the Lake District mean to me, right? Level 1 listening up here. Level 2 listening, focus and attention placed on the other person. Oh, the Lake District. I'm curious about the Lake District. I wonder what their experience in the Lake District was. I wonder if they enjoyed it. I wonder what made them choose the Lake District, right? And so as you're thinking about that and your attention is on them and you're listening to the words that they're saying, it's triggering questions that you then throw into the conversation. What happened? Where did you go? What happened after that? What happened next? How did you feel about it? What worked well for you? What did you think about it? Would you go again, right? You're being curious. The impact of that curiosity and this level 2 listening is that the person whose attention, the person who your attention is focused on suddenly feels like you're interested, like you care, right? Level 1 listening, when the attention all comes back to you, it leaves the person that you're speaking with just feeling like you don't give a damn about them. All you're interested in is what that means for you. Level 2 listening makes the other person feel heard, and it makes them feel like you care. Makes them feel like you care. So level 3 listening, right? So it's 3 levels of listening. Level 3 listening is very similar to level 2 listening, except not only is your attention focused on the person, but you're also noticing at the same time what is happening here. So your attention is on the other person, but you're aware of what's happening here. But again, using what is happening here, but putting that onto or putting the attention of that onto the other person as well. So you might be listening to the words and the language that the person is using, but you might notice, I'm noticing excitement, or I'm noticing a change in posture or a shift when a certain word is said. I'm noticing how the atmosphere is when we're having this conversation. I'm noticing the environment. I'm noticing subtle nuances about what is happening in the conversation, and I'm bringing that in as well. And you might comment on that. Oh, I noticed when you said that you smiled. You must have enjoyed it. What made you smile? Right. So imagine if you're in a conversation and somebody's listening to what you're saying. They're being curious. They're attentive. They're curious about what happened. They're asking you questions. But not only that, they're also noticing things about you. I noticed you did such and such when you said that. Can you imagine how you would feel if someone did that for you? How visible, how seen would you feel? How heard would you feel? Right? Because this is the thing. When we do this, right, when we really engage our listening and we place our attention on the other person, right, so when we're on the receiving end of that, it makes us feel amazing. It makes us feel that we're seen, that we're heard, that people care about us, that we're noticed, that what we do makes a difference, that who we are is important, that someone else is taking the time to notice. So that's what I have for you today, right? That is what I have for you. Engage your active listening. But to do that requires effort, right? It requires effort to really notice and turn off this commentary that happens in here, because our tendency, our default, is to slip back into level 1 listening, right? That's what we tend to do. We tend to slip back into level 1 listening. To be at level 2 or level 3 listening, we need to place our attention. We need to be deliberate and considered about where our attention is. And that requires the skill of self-management, right? Self-management is critical, really, really critical. Because unless we're considered about this, and unless we deliberately place our attention, focus our attention, we will naturally just slip back into level 1. But the impact that you can have on other people is significant, right? You can have a massive impact on other people just by practicing this skill of listening. So the next time you're in a conversation with someone, practice active listening, practice focusing your attention on them, being curious, engaging your curiosity, noticing things, and playing it back, being curious, asking questions, commenting, telling the person what you're noticing, and notice the change in the dynamic of the relationship between the two of you and how positive an influence it has. Okay, that is all I had for you today. I didn't want to wrap it on for too long. I've been on here for nearly 20 minutes already. So that is my thing, active listening. It is a practice, it takes effort, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. So try that. Let me know how you get on with it. And yeah, and good luck. And if you're watching this on replay, replay, hashtag replay, let me know what you think. And Janice, thanks very much for tuning in, and I will speak to you later. Thank you. Bye.